Uh, Starting from where we stopped the last time, we were able to know the equilibrium, and we say the quantity demanded is equals to quantity supply, and we are able to see that 80 plus 10, uh, uh, the price of x is equals to minus 40 plus the 20 price of x. So we say 120, collecting the like terms, we say 120 is equals to 30 and the price of x. So the price of x is equals to 4 equilibrium price. So replacing the equilibrium price either into the demand equation or into the supply equation, we say we get also the equilibrium quantity. So we are looking at the Q, and the quantity demanded is equals to 80 into minus 10 into 4. Then we have 80 minus 40. Then we have 40, the unit of x, or the quantity supply, which is 40 plus 20 into 4. That is minus 40 plus 80, and we have 80, the units of x. So we're able to prove that equation that we have just seen. And also, we're looking at type of equilibria. We are looking at types of equilibria, and also an equilibrium also condition is used to also set to be stable if any deviation from the equilibrium will also bring into operation market force, which pushes us also back towards equilibrium. So if the if instead we also move further away from equilibrium, we have a situation of unstable equilibrium. For unstable equilibrium to also occur, the market supply curve must be also negative, least slow, and also the less uh, uh, steply inclined than the also negotiation slow, the negatively slow and market demand curve. So adjustments to changes in demand and supply, comparative static also analysis. And so what is the effect of a change in the behavior of buyer and seller, and hence in demand and supply? So on the equilibrium price and quantity of goods of a good, as the behavior of supply of the buyer and also the sellers also often they does change, so causing demand and supply curve to also shift over time. It is also important to analyze how these shifts affect also the equilibrium. So this is referred to comparative statics analysis. Comparative statics also does implies and also instantaneous adjustment to also disturbance to equilibrium. And so we say uh, adjustment to change in demand. So you should also know by now that the market demand curve for a commodity short also shifts as a result of a change in the consumer's income, their taste, the price of a substitute, and also complement also on the numbers of consumers in the market. So given the market supply curve of a commodity, an increase in demand also result both in a higher equilibrium price and a higher equilibrium quantity, while a reduction in demand has the also opposite effect of it. Then you can see there that we see that the demand, the price when it was at P nothing, we have the demand also, then a shift in it also moved down, and also as the shifts are affecting demand, so it's also affecting the supply, and the demand shifted from also P to then to the other P there, and you can see it. So we also say that an increase in demand increase price and quantity exchange. So from P to P and also to P1 and Q to Q1 respectively. So the adjustment to changes in supply. So the market supply also supply curve of a commodity can shift also as a result of a change in cost, technology, also resource price, or weather the conditions also, especially for the agricultural produce. So given the market demand for the commodity, an increase in also supply also results in a low equilibrium price but a lighter equilibrium quantity, while a reduction also in supply has also the opposite effect. So we can see it there. We can see that we have the shift in also supply, so the shift in supply. And also we say an increase in supply in also decreases price and increase quantity exchange simultaneously shifts. And also, and when both the demand and supply curves, so the effect on price and quantity will also depend upon the direction of the shift and also their relatively also magnitude. If both demand and also supply shifts also left, the equation quantity will also decline the change. Also, we can see here that the in this price also depend upon the relative magnitude of the shift. So if both demand and supply shifts right, then quantity will also increase. And if the supply and the demand shifts in opposite direction, the price change will be also determined. But change in quantity will also depend upon the relative also magnitude of the shift. So we can see all the shifts here. We can see them. There's a shift in demand up there and also the shift in supply. And you can see both shifts are also meeting at the point where they form equilibrium. Then we're looking at the price ceiling, price floor, and excess taxes. Markets that are also perfectly competitive may be also altered by the imposition of a price ceiling, a price floor, or an excess tax. So such intervention in a market are likely to also affect price and quantity. So price ceiling, under the price ceiling, we say an effective price ceiling holds price below quantity equilibrium level, and the price and the ceiling also produces the quantity exchange in the market and also create shortages if the seller decrease the quantity supplied at the lower price. So government imposed rent control is also a type of price ceiling. That is, the rent also cannot exceed some amount such as the P P and indicated by figure 3.6. Then the price decline from P2 to P1 and the quantity of renter until decline from Q1 to Q2. And so we can see that when you see the price ceiling is like the constant price of the organization. Then we see the shortage below the price ceiling. So still a movement to the price uh, the minutes, but to price the other price up, and there's going to be a price ceiling. And so the price floor also an effective price for floor holds price above equilibrium level. So the floor reduces the quantity exchange and also created surpluses. If the seller are also allowed to produce all they are willing at the level price, at the higher price, the exchange also exchange, the example of the intervention is subsidy for the petroleum product in Nigeria, which often are set at minimum price. A price floor increases price from P to P minus, and also they reduce the quantity supply. Then you can see it there. We see the first one we saw the deficit, which is the shortage, and why, and the second one we see the surplus at a higher price that is given at a very high at the price floor. So we say an excess tax, and excess tax imposed on the product will also increase the equilibrium price and also reduce the quantity sold. So an excess tax Excise tax is a tax or levy assessed on a particular product, such as the liquor or the cigarette. If the tax is also placed in the producer, it will also uh, to increase their cost of production and also the and shift the supply curve forward. If it is imposed on the demander, it will also shift the demand curve forward too. The price will also increase from P to P into P up, as also indicated in figure 3.8, and also the quantity will also reduce from Q to Q1. And so we can have it like that, and the effect of tax in the middle, and you see that there's a cross, and where you can see the equilibrium, the tax pass through it, and we can also assess that. Then we're looking at the mathematical example. Changes in market equilibrium can be also illustrated with a simple numerical example. Suppose in single market that the quantity of t-shirts demanded per week are also Q depend on their price according to the simple relationship. So demand is equals to the quantity demanded is equals 10 minus speed in equation 1. Then suppose also that the short run supply curve for t-shirt is given by supply Q is equals to quantity is equals to price minus 2, or price is equals to Q minus 2. So graph also the then graph this equation as all before the demand curve, also labeled D in the figure. Interest intersects the vertical x axis at P is equals to 10 naira. At higher price, no t-shirts are also demanded. The supply curve and label X, so intersect the vertical at also the pre is equals to 2. This is the shadow price for the firm in the industry at a price lower than 2. So no t-shirt will also be sold. So as figure 9.6 shows, this also supply and demand curve also intersect at a price of 6 per t-shirt, and at that price people also demand 4 t-shirts per week, and so firms are willing to supply 4 t-shirts per week. This equilibrium is also illustrated in 3.1, which is also shows the quantity of t-shirts demanded and also supply at each price only when P is equals to 6 to days. So amount also agreed at a price of 5 per t-shirt. For example, people want to buy 5 t-shirts per week, but only 3 will be supplied. So we can also see the shift in the price. When the price goes from 10 to 12, you can see that the supply also moved up and they form equilibrium in that. Then we see the supply and demand equilibrium in the market for t-shirt. So we have the price when it was 10, the quantity supply was 8, the quantity demanded is 0, and quantity of t-shirt per week is 2. At price 9, the quantity supply 7, quantity demanded 1, and quantity demanded both of them is also 3. And at 8 is the quantity demanded supply was 6, the quantity demanded was 2. So we have there as 4. Then we off have them like that, until when it was is 0, and also quantity supply was 0, quantity demanded was 10, and the total quantity also shifted per week is 12. And so we can see that. So there is an excess demand of 2 t-shirts per week. Similarly, at price 7 of 7, there's an excess supply of 2 t-shirts per week. So if the demand curve for t-shirts also were to shift to outward, the equilibrium would also change. For example, figure 3.9 also shows the demand curve do. So D0, whose equation is given as by Q is equals to 12 minus P. With this new demand curve equilibrium, price also rises to 7 and Q is equals to 12 minus P. Quantity also rises to figure T set per week. So the new equilibrium is confirmed by the entries in table 3.1, which also show that this is also is the only price that they clear the market given the new demand curve. For example, at the old price of 6, there is now an excess demand for T-shirts, because the amount should people want Q is equals to 6 exceed, also exceed what firm are willing to supply. So Y is a function of Q is equals to 4, and then rises in price from 6 to 7, restore equilibrium both by the prompting also people to buy from fewer t-shirts, and also by also encouraging firms to produce more. So we can also see further, we see further example of market equilibrium, where we see the market demand and supply. At when the price was at 2, the quantity demand was 2, quantity supply was 14. At 1.50, quantity demanded was 5, quantity supply was 10. At 1, quantity demanded was 6, quantity supply was 6. At 75, 7.7, 0.75, quantity demanded was 7, and also the quantity supply was 4. Then at 0.50, the quantity demanded was 8, while quantity demanded was 2. So to show the algebraic determination of equilibrium, we start by expressing the market demand function. So the 4P and the supply function is a quality quantity supplied is equals to minus 2 plus 8 P, which is a dot quantity demanded is equals to 10 minus 4P. And so in equation 1, then and equation 2, quantity supply is equals to 2 plus quantity plus 8 price. So from equation 1, we see that P is equals to 2 under quantity demanded is equals to 2, while the function of P is equals to the 1 naira, while Q quantity demand is 6, and if the P is equals to 0.50, the quantity demand is equals to 8, as shown above the demand function demanded from equation. Then 2, you can also see that quantity supply 6, and also the function of P is equals to P2 point quantity supply minus quantity supply is equals to 14. So to find the equilibrium price, that's the quantity the demanded is equals to quantity supply, and we have the 10 minus 4P is equals to minus 2 plus 8P. So 12 is equals to 12P. So the P is equals to 1, and so substituting the equation price of P is equals to 1, either into demand equation to supply equation, we get the equation quantity also uh, quantity also Q of, so that D is equals to the demand is equals to 10 minus 4 into 1 is equals to 6, and is equals to Q and Y, or QX is equals to minus 2 plus 8 into 1 is equals to 6 equals to Q, as shown in the figure. So at the non-equilibrium price, P is equals to 1.50, QD quantity demand is equals to 10.4 into 1, 0.5 is equals to 4y, quantity demanded also is 2 plus 8 into 1 is equals to 10. Thus, we would have a surplus of 6 units as above the figure on the other hand. So we say at P is equals to 0.50 kobo, and quantity demand is equals to 10 minus 4 into 0.5 is equals to 8, while the QS is equals to 2 plus 0.50 in bracket is equals to 2. Therefore, we would also have a shortage of 6 units as shown in the figure above. So, the shift in demand and also supply and equilibrium to the shift also in the demand curve. And so, the quantity demanded is equals to 16 minus 4p, and the new equation equilibrium price is determined by quantity demanded equal to quantity supply, and this uh, and thus 42 is equals to 16 minus p is equals to 2p minus 8p. So p is equals to 1 naira and also 50 kobo. And so we have the 43, and we say q quantity demand is equals to 16 minus 4 into 1.50 is equals to 10 is equals to q. Then q quantity supply is equals to minus 2 plus 10 plus 8 into 1.50 is equals to 10 is equals to Q. On the other hand, the shift in the supply curve can also be represented as quality supply is equals to 4 plus 8P. Then the new equilibrium price is determined by equating QQD is quantity demand is equals to quantity supply. That is 10 minus 4P is equals to 4 plus 8P. Then 10 minus 4P is equals to 4 plus 8P. When you collect the like times, P is equals to 0.5. So, and QD QD, that's quantity demanded, is equals to 10 minus 4, then into 5 is 0.50, is equals to 8, is equals to Q. Then the quantity demanded is equals to 4 plus 8P into 0.5, and is equals to 8, is equals to Q. So the effects of an exercise tax is equals to let is equals to 8 minus plus 8P, and so the OD is equals to that is the quantity demanded is equals to quantity supply. We get the equilibrium price of 10 minus 4P is equals to 8 plus 8P, and 18 is equals to 12P. So P is equals to 1.50, and quantity demanded is equals to 10 minus 4, and also we have the 1.50 is equals to 4 is equals to Q. Then quantity supply is equal to minus 8 plus 8 into 1.50 is equals to 4 minus Q. So 4 is equals to Q, 4 Q is equals to 4. Sellers also get a price of quantity of Q of the quantity supply plus also the 2 plus 2 plus 8P. So 4 is equals to minus 8 plus 8P, then 6 is equals to 8P. So P is equals to 0.975. And so we can see that in the unit also you have been able to see the relationship between market demand and supply and how the equilibrium price and quantity are arrived at. Then mathematically, the equation price and also quantity are determined as well as the cost of change in the equilibrium also position, the extent of adjustment in demand also, and also the supply also discussed in it. So we are moving on to another very interesting part. We're looking at the elasticity of demand and supply. Elasticity of demand and supply. And under that, we're looking at the elasticities of demand. The importance of actually measuring measurement cannot be overstated without the ability to measure and predict how much people are likely to respond to economic changes. All this economic theory in also the world would be of little help to policy makers. So economic commonly measure the responsiveness using the concept of elasticity. So elasticity is a general concept that can be used to quantify the response in one variable when another variable also changes. So if some variable if some variables A changes in respect to change in another variable B, the elasticity of A also with the respect to B is equal to the percentage of change in A divided by the percentage of change in B. Elasticity of A with also respect to change in A all over change in B. So one can also speak of the elasticity of demand or supply with respect to price. So elasticity of investment with also respect to the interest rate of also tax payment with also respect to income, and there are also many elasticity of demand as it is demanded determined. So the most important of these elasticity are A, the price elasticity, B, the incomes elasticity, and C, the cross elasticities of demand. So price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity is measure of the improved impoverished responsiveness of demand to change in the commodity own price. In other words, also price elasticity of demand simply as the ratio of the percentage of change in demand also quantity to the percentage change in price. So price also elasticity of demand is also the positive value of percentage change in the quantity demanded for a percentage in price. So price elasticity of demand is equals to change in also quantity also over of demand all over change in price also the price elasticity of demand. And so we can see the slope of A, and we see the slope A is equals to P, and also we can see the slope down. And so demand is said to be elasticity uh, if elasticity is greater than 1, then inelastic is elasticity is uh, less than 4. And so unity elasticity is elasticity is equals to 1. And so example, the price elasticity of demand between point A 10 and 4 and B 20 20 30, and is found by using the arc elasticity. And so we have the price 50, quantity 0, and price 40, quantity 10, and 30, and 20. And so we have them like that. Then we can have the slope. You can see the loop there that we have the 10 and to 30 there. So point and arc elasticity, arc elasticity of demand. The arc elasticity is calculated over a period of price. So it is under for calculating elasticity between 2 points on a demand schedule or curve. So the formula is from the demand schedule above as calculated as the elasticity is equals to 20 minus 30 or all over times 30 plus 40 over 0 is equals to 7 over 3 is equals to 2.33. So absolute, we can see the arc there, that the arc is between the point P2 and P3, and they are meeting at B, and you can see the arc there so far. Then we also say that point elasticity of a particular point on the demand curve or supply curve. So the point elasticity, for instance, is the price elasticity of demand at a particular point on the demand curve. If it can vary depending on whether it is measured along the demand curve. So point elasticity can be measured using derivatives, supposing also the demand also equation is also given as Q is equals to 5 minus P. Elasticity at any point may be found through the use of derivatives from the above demand schedule calculation point. So we have the change in elasticity and also integrate to themselves, and we can see. So elasticity is equals to minus 1 times 40 is equals to 4, and which is the absolute. So Economics also categorize price elasticity into the price elasticity coefficient, also depending upon whether the coefficient is greater than, equal to, or less than 1. And so we can see the graph there. And I'm stopping here this afternoon. I think we can also continue to also check all this by ourselves. Thank you so much.